Heyo, we're doing double time today, so here is another Ever Crisis video. This time, Leviathan Very Hard number 3 run. I did try the EX, but I got absolutely trounced, or wrecked, so you'll have to settle for Very Hard 3 for now. Before we begin,
Oh shit, here we go again.
just a little preamble. This run is for a clear, just to clear it, and not for a high score. And obviously the run and the guard is sort of specific to the weapons that I have and the team that I could build, so not everyone will be able to replicate it. For example, I did not use any thunder resist down weapons, and of course in the end of the day there are many ways to go about this run and many different ways the run can go, so you know, yours might not be the same as mine and you might not be able to do the run like I did. That is just so you know. This isn't a one-size-fits-all. So it's just one example, and as I said, the guide is based on my run, my setup, my characters, my weapons, blah blah blah. And hopefully there's enough information in the video so that you can do it your way as well. Thanks for listening if you did, and let's move on to the actual video itself. So for recommendations, obviously you want to bring your best lightning DPS and Ramu as well, because he will do really well here.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Other than that, it's another magic DPS fight, so you want to bring your high potency single target magic attack downs, Solid Bazooka, Mad Minute, Junk Collar, Tiger Fangs, etc. etc. Water resist weapons also do really well here, so the Ramu summon weapons, that's Rifle of Levin and Ramu's Staff. And then Thunder resist down also works very well, so something like Wind Slash or Red Seaside Collar. And then you also want to bring Magic Defense, AoE increase, so again, Bandage Sword, Sleek Collar, Core Defender, etc. And then you want to have about 10k HP for this fight, and also AoE heals and single target heals are pretty useful. In my opinion, Leviathan's single target damage is actually the scariest part, so try to bring a bit of both. Let's do some Materia talk. You want to bring, in general, you want an X and Triangle Ruin, and you want a boost for Triangle or X, or both of them, depending on your run and your setup. You also want to bring single target cures. As I mentioned, it is pretty useful for his powerful single target attacks. Now, to go a little bit deeper into my actual run, it's pretty specific to my run. Hopefully it can help you out. If not, too bad, I guess. So what I did was I brought Murasame, which is the triangle, which has the triangle sigil boost, and that was the only sigil boost I brought. For my other two characters, I brought only X Ruin Materia, so that I could control one of them during the stream phase and just spam the X the whole time. And the other one with Semi will also obviously only use X because he doesn't have Triangle equipped. And for me, that was enough to both break the stream phase and to actually be able to heal up and buff and whatever. So that is how I did it. I went with one sigil boost. Here are some boss details, nothing special. You can't debuff his magic defense, but you're doing physical damage anyways. For the fight mechanics, for the initial waves of mobs, you just want to, charge your limit breaks and summons and focus the Rangda and Tenawat, because they can do some nasty stuff. Then for the fight itself, at the start of the fight, Leviathan will do multiple attacks that aren't too dangerous, and he will raise his magic attack. So this part of the fight's actually pretty open-ended. You can do whatever you want. You can buff yourself, you can debuff his magic attack, you can buff your magic defense, and or you can do DPS. So depending on your setup and what what works best for you, I would go with that. After that, he will use Tidal Roar, which gives him a permanent water potency buff. And at this point, you must pretty much do the same thing as you were doing before, whatever's best for you. DPS, buff, debuff, whatever. It's kind of up to you. After that though, he will use his Aquatic Focus and get his Maelstrom bar, and he will also get Lightning Resist up with it. So at this point, you obviously want to deplete the bar as fast as possible with Lightning DPS. You most likely want to use Ramu here to help deplete the bar. And then after the bar is depleted, or even if you can't deplete it, he will get a 3-second countdown. And then after that, he will get his tidal wave charging. So straight after the tidal wave hits, he will do tidal roar and enter his stream phase, which gives him a permanent physical defense and magical defense buff. So what you want to do here is just break the sigils and also use the time to heal and buff. So as you can see here on my slide, there is enough time, or there should be enough time, to break the sigils with 1 sigil boost weapon and also still heal up and buff yourself if you need to. The idea is that you want to be fully healed up and buffed up before the interrupt phase, so try to get all of that done so that you don't have to heal or buff during the interrupt phase. Because during the interrupt phase, you just want to do DPS, 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 use your limit breaks, use your Ramu before the interrupt ends, because straight after the interrupt ends, he is going to give himself a high potency lightning resist. So you want to get maximum DPS out before he does that. Basically, after that, he's going to get the Great Aquatic Focus and Maelstrom, which is, as I mentioned, the high potency lightning resist buff. And you, at that point, you don't really want to worry about the bar. You just want to, at least if you are following my run the way I did it, you just want to DPS rush him until the finish. Obviously, if you are doing a sort of different run, you could have something like Thunder Resist down, and you could spam that, and then try to deplete the bar and continue the fight like that. For me, my team, I brought a kind of defensive-ish team. As you can see there, Levy defense and 245k power. I'm using Cloud as my main DPS, which pretty much everyone should be because it's physical lightning. And I actually used a weapon exchange ticket to get OB6. I also brought Bandage Sword just for the extra HP and magic defense AoE buff. And then all of my characters have a single target cure. And of course, Triangle Sigil Boost is on the Murasame, so that is sorted there. The other stuff is stat sticks, and for his sub-weapons, I went with Lightning Potency, HP, Physical Attack, and Water Resistance. So there you can see his stats and his abilities. HP 6, Physical Attack 7, Lightning 6, and Water Resistance 3. For my support character, I went with Barrett once again with his Electro Armor to give myself a little bit of extra bulk. And then instead of going with Shiva, even level 7 doesn't do that much damage, I went with Mind Blow to debuff. And then Solid Bazooka as usual with the high potency magic attack debuff. And then I went with Electro Cannon because it's lightning damage and can debuff, help with the debuffs. As for his Materia, single target cures, and then I went with, as mentioned earlier, the X Runner Blow. So I actually switched out the triangle real quick just to a stat stick so that he will only cast X and let Cloud take care of the triangle. So that's pretty important for my run. And then sub-equipment, I went with HP and water resistance. So there are his stats. And for his abilities, as mentioned, level 7 HP, a bunch of other low-level stuff, and then level 5 water resistance. So yeah, very defensive setup. I went with Matt as my healer. I still have a pretty garbage outfit. I went with Gigantic Shield just to be safe for extra defenses in case I need it, and so that I can just focus on breaking sigils and stuff by casting that. Then I went with AoE heal in prime number because I don't need the defense from Centipede, and the AoE magic defense buff from Core Defender. He also has single target heal and a Thunder Materia, so he can also do a little bit of damage if he needs to. And then of course the X sigil only, so that those two can focus on X while the Cloud focuses on Triangle with his sigil boost Murasame. Sub equipment is heal, magic defense, HP. So you can check out the stats and our abilities. And then after that, we will get straight into the run. So as mentioned, for the initial waves, take out the Rangda, use the time to charge your limit breaks and summons, and you can even use the time to buff yourself or whatever you need to do to get ready for the main fight. And there he comes, King of the Seas himself. Really glad we finally got another summon. And yeah, as I said, you can kind of do whatever you want. I am using Cloud to help shore up my magic defense with Mat. And then doing a little bit of DPS here and there. Really no right way to go about this initial part. I'm using Barret's as well to lower his magic attack so that, you know, he doesn't do like insane damage to me. There's his AoE, and soon he will start his aquatic bar, the Maelstrom bar. So we're just doing a little bit of damage, a little bit of debuffing, and there's the bar. So ideally you want to have your Ramu charged by now. I'm just going to finish charging it and then drop it as soon as it's ready. And I actually want to charge all of my limit breaks so I can get the bonus damage and all of that stuff. So yeah, you obviously only have a small countdown, and then after the countdown, pretty quick charge of Tidal Wave. So I went with Mind Blow so that I can do a little extra damage. I don't really know if it makes a difference, especially since he can't have his magic defense debuff. So there you have it, I deplete the bar, and then after a short while, he will finish his countdown and then start channeling his Tidal Wave. So in this point, I'm basically just making sure I'm topped up. I'm making sure his magic attack is debuffed and my magic defense is buffed. Even though I depleted the bar to make the Tidal Wave do less damage, it's still important to stay on top of your defenses and heals. There's the Tidal Wave charge. So you still have a little bit of time even after the countdown to do what you need to do. And then obviously defend the Tidal Wave, and his stream phase is going to come pretty soon after this. And as mentioned, depending on your setup, it can be quite different. If you have boosts for X and triangle, you'll get through it a lot quicker. But in my case, I don't actually want to get through it too quickly. So as mentioned, I have Cloud with Murasame dealing all on his own with the triangle because he has the triangle sigil boost. And then the other two are dealing with the X. And the Tidal Wave charge is pretty slow, as you can see at the top of the screen. So just like I mentioned in the sort of mechanics slide section, there should be enough time for you to not only break the sigils, charge up your limit breaks and summons, but also heal and buff as necessary. So if you have something like Arctic Star, you can spam it and get your physical attack of your whole team super high for the interrupt phase. I don't really have buffs, so I just used it to heal. And now in the interrupt phase, it's just DPS, DPS, DPS. You want to be as healed up as possible so that you can only focus on DPS. And then, as I mentioned, just before or just after the interrupt phase, you want to drop your limit breaks, especially Ramo summon, before he gets his, lightning resistance. That is probably the biggest deal of the whole fight. You don't want to drop your summon after he's gotten high potency lightning resist. And hopefully you have enough damage with everything with your setup to get him low enough. And from this point, you can just focus on DPSing him. Don't have to worry about healing, don't have to worry about debuffing. You can buff yourself, obviously. And don't worry about depleting the gauge. Just DPS him until the fight's over. So I'm doing that by just switching between my characters and spamming their lightning abilities on cooldown.
I'm in danger.
So my mat gets pretty low here, and I honestly probably could have healed him up and I would have gotten a better score. But I just let him die and finish the fight. Not a big deal. And there it is. So hopefully, you know, between the slides and my actual run, this will be helpful to you, even if you can't replicate it exactly. Hopefully this will be helpful to you. And as I said, my score is not good because I let Matt die, but it is what it is. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have great success with your own run. And I'm self-taught in editing, and I edit all my own videos, so if you do enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.